I haven't talked about Nvidia a whole lot on this channel, but today is the time to do so with earnings on the horizon this Wednesday, which is less than 48 hours away. Things could get pretty tricky in the market. Let me tell you guys that if Nvidia beats earnings, it's going to take everybody to the moon. But if they don't beat earnings, well then we're going to be sitting in the gutter. We're going to be homeless. It's pretty much a given that Nvidia is going to beat earnings every single time, and people are out there just buying shares and selling them right around earnings, buying calls, very bullish all of the time. And this is fine when you're winning, but when you're losing, it's not so good. You have to be very cautious because Nvidia has such a controlling market share, especially in AI sector and hardware and tech sectors, that if they miss earnings, the stock is going to drop and Nvidia is going to pull the whole market down with it. Nvidia has a pretty good control, sympathy control over the market, the sentiment. And when the market cap of Nvidia goes down and it starts to sink, it's usually when the market is sinking or the market follows shortly after. There's analysts such as Dan Ives who believes Nvidia is doing well and is going to do even better and that the stock is going to continue to go up and they're going to beat earnings. I sort of feel the same way. However, there are other analysts that don't feel the same about Nvidia. However, there is other analysts like Oswath Damodaran who believes that Nvidia is likely to have a pullback and that they're overvalued. I'm not sure if I pronounced his name correctly, but he is a very well and respected analyst in the stock market. But I don't know if I agree with him completely on most things involving Nvidia. Nvidia is the future of AI and tech, and they own a big portion, if not most, of the market share in this sector. They are the big players, the big dog on the market. They have invested in SoundHound, they have invested in Serve Robotics and other companies as well. So I'm going to tell you guys what Elon Musk said, but first let's take a listen to what Dan Ives said and Aswath.
This is accelerating. And I think the street, like you said, every quarter, prove it. This revolution is just starting, but it all starts with NVIDIA. In my opinion, it is the most important earnings, not just of the year, potentially in many years, because of what this represents in terms of tech.
NVIDIA is an amazing company, great growth, amazing cash flows, superb margins. But you're paying a premium price, even given all of those pluses.
Generally, there's just a ton of noise around the quarter, but I think this Blackwell piece is probably the most important X factor about the quarter. And so that's kind of why I think that the stock is going to trade down modestly. But I don't think that stock action should be representative of the opportunity in NVIDIA over the next couple of years. Investors are going to get hyper-focused this week, but it's ultimately going to probably miss what I still believe is the biggest opportunity we've seen in 20 years. I still think that we are in the early innings of a 3 to 5 year tech bull market that's powered by AI.
So NVIDIA looks stretched. Does that mean you sell it?
I think it's a dangerous game to play. If you don't own it, the only way you can sell it is to short the stock, and that's a recipe for disaster, especially leading into an earnings report.
Well, they're not the only ones speaking out on Nvidia. Elon Musk has said something very recently about Nvidia, which actually gives more bullish sentiment to the stock. Now, before we get into that, if you guys are having difficulty understanding all this, I mean, it can be very tricky to understand stocks. Let me explain some things to you. If Nvidia was to fall after earnings, most of you guys would be fearful of that, and you wouldn't buy it. A lot of people didn't buy Nvidia when it dropped to $98. So think of this like you're going to buy a car. Let's say you're looking at this car that's $50,000 and you've done all your research on this car and you love it and you just can't afford it. So you decide not to buy the car. If this car goes on a sale for $49,000 or $48,000 a few weeks later, why would you be scared to buy it? If you have the $48,000 to buy the car, nothing's fundamentally or technically changed with the car, right? It's still brand new. It's the same car. There's no warranty claims. Nothing's changed. Just the price is on sale. Why would you be fearful to buy it? Well, most people are not. When they see something at a store that's at a discount, they buy it. Or if it's on sale, they buy it. But in the stock market, it's not the same. People say, oh, I really want this stock, but I can't afford it. Then as soon as the price comes down, nothing has fundamentally changed with the stock. It's still a great stock, great company. Everything's great. Nothing's changed. But now you're fearful because the price came down. This is the problem with the market and how it manipulates you and controls you. It was designed to take your money. This is what the stock market does. This is what it's there for. It preys plays off of the natural human emotion and psychology. We see red, we want to sell, and we see green, we want to buy, when in reality, when we see red, we should be looking for an entry after a big dip. And when we see a lot of green and a rise, we should be looking for a sell or an exit. This is something I teach in my Discord, my training course, and in my one-on-one coaching to my students. All of my students are doing very well, between 10 to 30% in their very first month. If you guys are looking to take control of your life and your portfolio and have financial freedom and time freedom, this is something that is very important to understand, and I teach it thoroughly. Just one of the many things that I teach. If you guys want to take control of your life, I offer one-on-one coaching, full Discord training course. You guys can sign up at any time, but it's a very serious mentorship. If you guys want to do so, investwithcorey.com right there on the screen or in the information box below. I really am driven to help you succeed just like my other students have. You guys can see by the comments that were on the screen that my students have been making consistent profits every single month. So like I said, if you guys are looking to be profitable in the market, you have to understand the sentiment. If Nvidia drops, you dollar cost average, you continue to dollar cost average. This way, when the stock runs, you make a lot more money. Let's take a look at what Elon Musk said about Nvidia very recently. I am incredibly impressed by Nvidia's execution and capability of their hardware. What we're seeing is the demand for Nvidia hardware is so high that it's often too difficult to get the GPUs. Considering the billionaire's remark, it's conceivable that Nvidia will come in handily above Wall Street's estimates for the second quarter on August 28th. The consensus is 28.6 billion with 64 cents a share EPS. However, is Nvidia undervalued or overvalued? Nvidia's PE ratio is 75, which is not the worst, but it's definitely not the greatest. Most good companies have a PE ratio between 10 and 35, some 35 to 50 depending on the sector they're in. However, Nvidia being 75 is a little on the high side. This is due to the fact that a lot of the price on Nvidia is baked in for future guidance. If Nvidia continues to grow and they can get their EPS up to $1 before the stock price breaks 150 in the next 2 quarters, which is highly unlikely because the price is going up so quickly because of future guidance, but realistically they could see themselves having a PE ratio of around 50, which is pretty good, maybe even better. But this really boils down to, can they beat the earnings yet again? There is a lot of demand for the hardware and a lot of demand for Nvidia. We're pretty much still in the very early stages of. Remember, the average life cycle of these chips and these GPUs is only 2 to 3 years. Other hardware like Cisco and the other issues like the internet boom, they're limited, very limited, because we've grown away from this internet boom. It's not the same anymore. We now have AI. We had ChatGPT, large language model. Now we have full AI capabilities with Palantir, and there's also other companies out there doing the same thing like SoundHound for voice recognition. This is something that's ever growing, ever changing. And because it's ever growing, ever changing, and evolving like Nvidia is doing, then there's no sure way to say that once they've made their growth, it's dead. It's going to continue to evolve and continue to grow, which means the demand for Nvidia is going to continue to go up. And as long as we keep doing what we're doing right now, it's going to continue to beat earnings. People are going to continue to want Nvidia. And as long as it's hard to get your hands on and the supply and demand is the same as it is now, or relatively the same, the prices are going to keep going up, the value is going to keep going up, and the profits will be there. We're living in an age of AI. I don't think Nvidia is overvalued at all. I think if you're considering future guidance, it is priced accordingly, maybe slightly undervalued. I'm not sure if I would entirely say that based on its current stock price that it's undervalued. I would say that it's priced accordingly because it's baking in future guidance and projections. Be careful on earnings. If you must buy shares on earnings, buy the shares prior to Wednesday. Wait for the stock to go up a little bit, and if it does, buy puts at your entry price. This way it's cheaper and you can get in cheaper on those puts. And if the stock falls, the puts will protect you. And then if the stock runs and you make all your profits, you're only going to lose a small portion of those profits on the puts themselves. You can also run the collar strategy, which I love to do, which is buy the shares at say 126. The stock goes up to 128, buy a 126 put, then sell a 132 covered call or 134. That call will pay for that put mostly or completely. And then when the stock runs, you then make the profits between 126 and 132 or 134, depending on the call you sold. And then you keep whatever's left over, if any, from the call to the put. But if they break even, you at least make that $400 or $600 on the stock while capping your losses on the downside and eliminating them completely, really. So that's what I would do with Nvidia. And if you must trade it or you already hold on to it and you don't want to buy puts, hold long term. So if Nvidia misses earnings and drops, dollar cost average, and then wait for it to recover and keep adding to your position, because in the long run, Nvidia is a a very strong play. My 1-year price target on Nvidia is $160. That's based on math I've done multiple times, $150 to $160. So right now there's over a $35 upside. So on 100 shares, $3,500. But it wouldn't shock me if Nvidia hits $200 in a year, which is almost a 75% return from the current price, or a 100% return, double from where it was just a few weeks ago during the major pullback. Nvidia is, in my opinion, slightly undervalued currently, very slightly, but in the long run, considering future guidance, definitely undervalued at this point in time. And I think Nvidia is a no-brainer investment, but remember, be safe around earnings. If this is like all confusing, you guys, I really apologize. I know it's very tough to understand technicals, fundamentals, investing, and just understanding overall market movement and direction. But if this is difficult for you and you really want to get better in the market, I would love to help you. I offer one-on-one coaching, full training, and Discord. You guys can sign up at any time. Limited spots, though. You have to take it very seriously because this is a serious mentorship, and I'm committing my time to help you guys. And if you really want to take control of your financial freedom, your time freedom, your location freedom, and do a lot better in the market, whether you're a complete beginner or maybe you've been trading for a little while but just don't get it, I can definitely help you. So this way you guys can live your best life. If that's something you guys want for yourselves, I would love to help you. You guys can sign up at investwithcorey.com right there on the screen or in the information box below. This video's over, guys. I will see you on the next one, and I put that video right there. It's already on the screen. I will catch you on that video. Click it. I'll see you over there. And remember, till the next video, let's grow our wealth together. Take care, fam.